Uh, all right. Good morning, Texas, and everyone around Texas. We are, what is it? Is this the 32nd week of the year? It is. We are wrapping up the 32nd week of the year, which there's only 48 work weeks in the year, right? Because everything that happens in December is January closings. So there's a lot of year that we've gone through. It's probably 65% of the year. So as we think about that, think about what you want to do in the last third of the year. The only announcement I have this morning is that we have call night next Thursday. Call night is next Thursday. If your team does it, awesome. If you guys don't do it, now's a great time to start. We get a lot of results from call night. I think we took a listing from a call night that we did last month. So it's also a great way. Every single third Thursday, you're like, wow, an entire month has passed because it comes up like this. So unless somebody has better or newer announcements, we'll get started with Ben because he's actually the one in charge this morning. Going once, going twice, Ben, it's all you.
That's the first time in my history that Adelina says I was the one in charge. This is like a huge day for me after all these years. And she doesn't mean it.
It's taken us a long time to get to this.
I'm super excited to join the Texas Power Up this morning, and really glad that all of you get together and share from team to team and brokerage to brokerage about what's going on and how do we win together. If you're participating in the production contest, go into chat and just let me know if you're in. I'm just curious how many people on the call here are actually participating in the challenge. Oh, Jen, I like it. Andrea, Kosh, good. Chris, Ashley, love it, love it. Maybe go into chat for a second and tell me what you're learning about yourself or about this business from being in this production time. And some of you might have looked up and said, hey, it's summer and I have a vacation with my kids and I can't quite complete the challenge. But I just want to remind you that you can come up with your own. Like the goal is to push us to do just a little bit more than we have and create this habit to get us into activity as we go forward into almost starting, this is going to sound crazy, but starting 2025. The activities and behaviors we do today are going to decide how amazing of a year we are going to have in 2025. One of the previous Friday calls, I talked about compounding. And it's one of my favorite words because it's so powerful. Let me ask you all a question. If you had to save money for the next 30 years and you wanted to guarantee that you're a millionaire, on average, what do you guess how much money you'd have to save per month to be a millionaire? Put it into chat for me. Jen was the only one that gave a guess. Everybody else is like, nope. No. Oh, look at Denise. Yeah, it's about $300 at the average return in the S&P 500 of 11% for 30 years, compounding daily. It's about $300. When I first saw that number, one, I was kind of pissed off that my dad and my mom weren't millionaires because I knew what they wasted $300 a month on my entire life. And it wasn't good stuff. It wasn't even legal stuff. Like it was just bad stuff. They could have been real millionaires. It's such a small amount done consistently over time that differentiates us all. And I want you to hear that. It's one extra open house a week. It's 10 extra phone calls. It's reading for 15 minutes extra a day. It's walking an extra 2,000. It's just such small, little tiny things. And I want you all to think about that. Like, what is a small little activity that you've been regretting doing that if you did would make your life so much better for the next 6 months or 12 months? Just want you to process that for a second. And then, as I like to say, I want you to do something about it. I want you to pick something and do something about it. I want you to save that $300 or make those extra X amount of calls. Chris Suarez, you guys probably know Chris. He's like this tall, cute, well-dressed. He's an amazing human. Chris was at the office the other day on a Friday, and he looks around the office and everybody's gone. And he gets super, Chris pissed off, which he wouldn't say pissed. He gets super frustrated and he wants to do something about it. So he walks out and he grabs a gentleman who's not licensed, which is probably illegal, and has never sold real estate before. And he says, do me a favor, go into Brivity and call everybody that's opened their market report in the last 30 days for me. And the guy's like, I'm in ops. I don't do that. I don't talk to people. Like I'm in the ops role. We don't people in this ops thing. And he says, I don't care. It's your job. You're going to do it. He's like, I don't know what to say. So Chris goes and he types out his little script on what to say. And this gentleman calls for 2 hours. And he sets 2 listing appointments in 2 hours, calling other people's leads that simply had just opened a market report in the last 30 days. That is like this little message in my head that tells me that there's people sitting all around us that are waiting for us to call. We built this really cool tech company called Brivity. And Brivity was this project that I started in 2012. And it's called Brivity, not brevity. I get offended when people call it brevity, but let me tell you why it's called Brivity and not brevity. Because brevity was $50,000 at GoDaddy for the domain name, and Brivity was $7.49. And when I started it, I had $7.49, not $50. It wasn't like the $3 million that Chris and I paid for place.com. No, I had $7.49. Anyway, so I started building Brivity. And for the first 10 years, I never made $1 from it. My best month in owning Brivity, I lost $330,000 in a single month. $330,000. But I knew that it was going to be part of our mission. At one point, this guy called me and he said, we would like to buy Brivity. We'll give you $230 million cash. We'll close in 30 to 60 days. I owned 98% of Brivity. I was thinking to myself, I could have a hell of a ranch in Texas for 200. I'd put it right next to Gary Keller's ranch, and I'd put a circus wheel there, and I'd have loud concerts every night. I'd do all that kind of stuff. It'd be bigger than his. I'd put a big high tower there so I could peek down on his property. I'd just kind of mess with him. No, but I didn't take that offer. And probably one of the best decisions of my life. But another person asked me once, they said, hey, Ben, why did you never sell Brivity? And I looked him in the eye and I said, because nobody ever called me on the right day. That makes sense to you? Like there was lots of days I would have said, F this, this is hard. I'm losing money. I'm never going to make my way out of it. My customers are always complaining. I build them a Peloton and nobody freaking rides it. Like this is what my life is. But nobody ever called me on the right day. And I want you to think about that message. Why is it that when you go through your database and you call your own leads, that you find 10 or 20 people that already bought a house? It's that same answer, Jen. We didn't call them on the right day. We simply didn't touch them on the moment in time on that day where they really, really wanted to talk about real estate. So I challenge you all to set a goal to have more great, amazing conversations with humans in your world. And they don't even have to be about real estate. I was talking to one of our partners the other day and she admitted, she said, you know what, we've done a really poor job. A lot of our business is by referral. We don't call our past clients. I said, well, why don't we start? She said, I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to say. So I went to her and I said, you want my best script for calling your past clients that you haven't called in a while? She said, yep. I said, all right, here it is. Hi, Adelina. This is Ben. And we helped you buy your home there in Round Rock. And I was calling to ask, how are you? Isn't it that simple? That if you literally reach out to people and you say, how are you? How is your world? I really enjoyed the time we spent together helping you find a home. And I apologize, I haven't been in better touch with you. But now I just want to check in. How are you doing? What's new? That's all it takes. They know what you do for a living. If they have a real estate related question, they're probably going to ask you, but that is step one. So I'd really challenge you all over the next month to have at least 10 how are you conversations a day. And the cool thing with how are yous is you don't have to be in a situation where you're at your desk and on site, on Brivity and ready to work. You could literally be on your way to the gym or a barbecue place. I don't know what people do in Texas in the summer. I don't know. You're going somewhere that has AC most likely. So you're driving somewhere from AC to AC and you're like, oh, I got a minute. Who should I call? I went on 4 listing appointments in the month of July myself. Most people don't have founders of companies in real estate that are at the size that we are, where the founder went on 4 last month. But I do that because I want to stay connected in real estate. And I would tell you 3 of those 4 came because I reached out to people and said, how are you? I was thinking about you. One of them was just a text. I texted my doctor. He knows everything about me. Like, it's okay for me to ask stuff about him. He's seen every part of this body. Unfortunately, when you get to 40 something, guys, you know way more about that than we need to. I said, how are you? He said, I was thinking about you the other day. And I said, how come? Because I'm handsome? And he said, no, that wasn't it at all. And he said, my wife and I, we were talking and we think we should probably sell our house. And I said, why is that? He said, because Washington State is ran by Democrats and we hate them and we want to move. And I said, well, you know, I support all peoples and all parties that want to move. When can we get together? It's literally that simple. Literally that simple. Another guy owned a company in town and I just reached out to him and said, hey, would you like to have lunch? And he did. And he said, hey, I was thinking about you. We were building some houses and we'd interviewed a few agents. And I said, did you interview us? And he said, no. I said, well, that's dumb. He said, that's what I was thinking. I said, can we interview for the job? He says, yep. So we go and we pick up 4 of his listings. It is literally that easy. So when you're finding yourself in a rut, in a position in your business where you feel like business isn't happening, I bet you aren't creating enough how are you conversations. And if you are having a lot of how are yous, like you're an incredibly social human, but you're not generate business, I bet you it's because you're a secret agent and people don't know who you are. How many of you have been playing with Area Pro? Anybody wave at me? You've been playing with Area Pro. Well, number one, it's free because you all are part of Place. Now, we built it. It's an incredible product. So all of you should be using it and all of you should be trained. In fact, Adelina, maybe on one of the next Texas Power Up, you can bring Sean Anderson and Mike Hicks on to do a Area Pro training for everybody. They would really love it. But you go into Area Pro. I used it the other day. I went on Area Pro and I just said, I like, it's AI. So I like to talk to AI politely. I don't know why. I just feel like at some point they're going to rule the world and you should be really nice to AI. So I always start my AI conversations off with please. So I said, please create me a video script to convince a seller to sell their home in 98226. And it pops out this gigantic script for exactly what to say with built-in market stats. All of it for me, automatic, just like that. And I thought to myself, oh, this is good. This is good. I should make a video. And then I thought, well, I'm too lazy. I should turn this into an email. So I say, please turn into a video or to an email, and then they turn it into an email. I said, oh, can you make this into a blog post? And it turns it into a blog post. It's done all that work in 13 seconds with accurate data updated within 5-minute increments. Like, these are like the little types of tools that allow us to not be a secret agent and to sound super intelligent. Like, I figure if I'm going to do something, I might as well sound smart. I never was particularly smart, so I got to sound smart. AI is going to solve that for me. If only you could make me tall and tan and skinny, then I'd really be all in on AI, but I haven't figured that one out yet. We're working on it here at Place. Okay. Adelina said, hey, why don't you come in and let the group of Texas leaders ask you a question? And then I talked like an idiot for 15 minutes and we haven't asked the question. So let's open up the floor and have a conversation about anything you want, about Place, about money, about your business, about, you can ask me anything. Who wants to go first? Raise your hand and we'll start having the conversation with our peers. This is the awkward moment while we wait for somebody to say something and I drink protein shake.
Hey, Ben, it's Sharky. I was kind of curious, like, what would you would say? I see a lot of things on social media about people saying, "Oh, it's really better to be a listing agent these days." I've found like my success so far in the short period of time with buyers. What would you say to encourage us that are still working with buyers and things like that, and how to counter that?
Thank you for that question. Do you want me to encourage you to keep working with buyers, or do you want me to encourage you to work with sellers?
I want you to make me more profitable.
Okay. Here's the reality. Our job is to help people experience the dream of home ownership. And every person we can help matters.